Oh, my name is Krishna Vavilala, Chairman of the Foundation for India Studies and Indo-American Oral History project, and welcome Mr. Hiren Sarma and wife Usha Sarma. These are our honored guests. These are the first family from Assam we are interviewing for the project. And we are very privileged to have you, Mr. Sarma. And I will be asking you some questions about your family and why you came to the United States and what was your background before you decided to come to the United States. So it will be a very conversational type of interview. And this interview will be uploaded onto the Houston Public Library digital archives, and these will be forever useful for future historians, sociologists, and students, researchers, anyone who wants to know about the Indian community in Houston. So let us get it started. Mr. Sarma and Mrs. Sarma, welcome to the project. And I would like Usha Sarma to talk about a little bit about your family background.
Okay, we are from Assam. Both are from same town, place called Jorhat. It's a very beautiful town. And now there are a lot of illegal immigrants. That's why I don't say that it is very beautiful than before. And we got married 1973. That then he was working in the oil company called Oil India. He was in Juliadan. Then we were there for 3 years. Then we came to USA. He came before than me. He came 76. Then I came 77. And then after that, probably we spent 2-3 years in Houston. He was transferred to Mexico from Brown Redwood. And then we were there for 2 years. Then came back to Houston. That by the time he was born, already we have a daughter. She was born in India. When I came here, she was only 4 months old. 3-4 months old. And then he was born here, and then we were here. Then again, I got another son, younger son. He was born after 1 year. He was transferred to Malaysia. We spent there for 2 years. Then again, he was transferred to Muscat, Oman, Middle Eastern country. We were there for 17 years. Then we came back to Houston again in 2005. Since then, we are here. Then we have 3 children. We have daughter. She's married, and we got 2 grandkids. One son, one daughter.
May I ask their names, your sons and daughters?
Okay.
Names of
my daughter name is Devahuti. Devahuti Sarma. Now she's Kulkarni. She's a doctor. She's a surgeon, and now she's in North Carolina. She's doing another fellowship in breast surgical oncology. Then her husband is from Maharashtra, but he was born here, Pittsburgh. He's also a doctor. His name is Aniruddha Kulkarni. He's also an anesthesiologist. Then I have 2 sons. He's Suman. He's also a mechanical engineer. He's working in Shell Oil Company. Then another younger son, he's in Chicago. He's also doing MS. At the same time, he's also working. And that is about.
So your grandchildren, how many you got?
Yeah, I have 2 grandchildren.
What are their names?
Yeah, one name is Kiran Ovi. Then daughter's name is Anvi. Anvi, yeah. Kiran Ovi is only 3.5, and daughter is 2 years. We just came back from North Carolina recently to celebrate her. We went to celebrate her 2 years birthday.
Okay. So sons are married?
No, both are not married yet. We are looking for
I see.
for it. Yeah.
Sure. So you're waiting. But you have a very good educated family. You raised children with good education. And
Yeah, probably.
very good, nice. And then before Tell me something about your culture. You had an arranged marriage with
Yeah.
Mr. Sharma, or
Arranged marriage, yeah.
like most of the Indian
Yeah,
families,
Indian,
right?
yeah.
Okay, successful arranged marriage.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Wonderful. How many years you have been married now?
We have been married in
Since 73. so
73, yeah.
almost 40 years.
40 years,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Very good. Now I will shift to Mr. Sharma
Okay.
to talk about his career before coming to United States. And what is your background of education and things you did in India before?
Before coming to your question,
Yes.
I'd like to appreciate the FIS, particularly Mr. Krishna yourself, and Veena, who was organizing all these things. And it's a really pleasure to learn about the things that what you are doing. That is where I got interested. Going back to your question, I'm a chemical engineer by profession. I graduated from Benares University and did my master's in IIT Kanpur. And in 71, I started working in Oil India Limited. And
Before that, may I stop? Where were you
Sure.
born?
Okay, I was born in a town called Jorhat, what you say.
Jorhat.
Yeah, but after my birth, we were,
Which year you were born?
I'm 68, so it's 47.
Okay.
And after my birth, my father was a revenue collector, and he moved into a small village. So my first few years, I was brought up in a village, and that has got a lot of impact in my life. I've written a lot about in my storybook. I will talk about it later. And then we moved back to Jorhat. So I did my schooling in Jorhat Government School. And in 63, I went to Benares University, did my chemical engineering.
That was a very good university, started by Madan
Mal-
Mohan
Mal-
Malviya.
Malviya, yes.
You know,
Yeah, that
the
is
education is
absolutely
visionary.
absolutely. And then I moved into IIT Kanpur, did my masters, and finishing that, I joined Oil India Limited. One of the reason being Assam is very good, prolific in oil, and that was more like in my backyard, very close to my hometown. So they offered me a job, and I said that could be the
What is
best.
the capital of Assam?
It's called Dispur. Dispur is very close to Guwahati, and they didn't want to expand in Guwahati any further when they decided about 15-20 years back. So they created this small town called Dispur, but it's just continuation of Guwahati, and that is where all the government establishment is there.
Previously, the Standard Vacuum Oil Company, Standard Oil Company
Yeah,
of California.
they had Burma Oil is one.
Burma Oil.
Yeah, that is where actually I worked. And when I worked, it was still 50-50 Burma Oil, Indian government. But now it is a completely Indian government undertaking, similar to ONGC.
It is more oil than gas, or?
It's still more oil. Of course, when it came to Bombay, Mumbai, offshore, and all these places, Assam produced probably about maybe.
This
30,
is an
20.
onshore
It's all
exploration.
onshore.
Yes.
Yeah, all onshore. But since then, I've seen that Oil India has expanded all overseas. They have an office here in Houston, in fact, Oil India. So they've gone out quite a lot. And after working few years, like maybe I got a little bit that am I going to stay around here, do something else? Coming to USA was kind of completely by fluke. I never intended to come. I was quite happy with the company otherwise. We got married. Somebody once told me that his hobby is applying for immigration everywhere. He applies for China, Australia, but he didn't want to go. So he gave me this application for USA. I applied for it. When the interview request came, I lost the application, lost the interview request because of lack of my interest. Got married. 2 years passed very well. Then I started.
Which year was it?
That happened in 72, 73.
Before the emergency.
Before the emergency.
In Indira Gandhi.
Exactly. So 75, I got back again. That consulate office from Calcutta, they asked me that, do you want to go really? And then finally I decided to go. And we talked about it. And here we came in 76 and she joined me in 77. And yeah, I think, on the hindsight, it was a good thing. It opened me up to travel all over the world. And but I have a still very strong connection back to Assam.
Right. So, really the push came for you to move to United States. It was not out of an economic necessity, just is your own desire to improve your career, etc., and see the world. There are other reasons. See, a number of people came to America for economic reasons because they are not doing well. But you have a great job, you have a good family, you are just starting, and still you wanted to come to America. Why?
So it was basically, as I said, happened by chance. I strongly believe in fate. A lot of things happen in my life. I mean, I believe in two things. You have to work hard for everything. By sitting here, fate is not going to help you. If you combine both of these, I strongly believe in fate. And things have happened in my life, like I married a beautiful lady.
Sure.
So that was my fate, I'm sure. And so coming to America was almost by chance. Then I got an opportunity to go back to Malaysia. That happened by chance because of downturn in 86 in Houston, in oil industry. So I ended up there, and that changed my whole life again. I ended up in Middle East, and I had an excellent career with Shell in Middle East. And of course, 2005, when all our children got established here, we thought that we needed a permanent home. So we came back to Houston, got a new house in Katy, and Shell hired me. So I'm pretty lucky and pretty happy, to be honest.
Shell is a great company to work
It's
for.
a very good company to work.
Yes. So when you came to America in 76, you said, did you face any problems of racial discrimination? What kind of adjustment problems you encountered?
Personally, we didn't face anything. There are few places on my workplace. In the first year, I worked in very remote places in Texas and offshore as well. So when I went to Texas, I went to a place like Athens, Paris, and all those kind of places in West Texas here. And I was working, mainly my team was, I was working in the field mainly, and team was, rest of the all crew is Caucasian crews here. And some of those villages, they had never seen a brown person before probably. And they were not hostile or anything, but they were very curious about me. And but I think we might be lucky. We have not faced any of those. Adjustment is always difficult. I think even now I feel we got very great neighbors, but getting completely, maybe it is a difference of cultures we came from and other things. We are very good friends. We get invited, they get invited to us. But I don't feel that 100% bonding.
You did, because you are dealing with your colleagues who are equally educated. Understand. How about you, Mrs. Sarma? Did you find any problems?
No, I didn't have, because since I don't work, probably that is the reason. I stay home. And I worked in a long time back, and at that time it was police message, I used to work there. Only few months. Then he was transferred to Mexico. I followed him. Then after coming back, I took some courses, like computer some courses, and then but I didn't pursue my. I didn't work there. He was transferred to Malaysia. We were there for 2 years. I cannot work there. And also after that I went to Oman. We went to Oman. Oman also I cannot work. I could have worked, but since he's an American citizen, that time I was Indian citizen. I don't get any benefit because they are going to they always give us 1 year after 1 year fare here to coming here Houston, but they will give me fare to India only twice, only 2 years. That is a lot of reason. Then I didn't work. But on and off, sometimes there is a small school. It's run by Sail Oil Company. It's a kindergarten school. Whenever teacher was sick or something, I used to work as a substitute teacher. It's a very small school, like a play school. I used to work like that. But that's why probably that is the reason I didn't face any problem. Also, in the Muscat is a very good country. Even though we're living in it's a camp, video camp it's called. There are a lot of European people. Our neighbors were English, Scottish, German, Norwegian. We had very good life there. They are very friendly with us. Every Wednesday, we had a coffee morning among ladies. Ladies. We had coffee morning. Then it's a bit outing also going out. It's a very nice. I had very good time in Oman.
Sure.
She loved the one.
The advantage is you speak English. Right?
Pardon?
The advantage is that you speak
Okay,
English.
probably, yeah.
So you can communicate with
Yeah.
the European
Yeah.
immigrants
Yeah,
there.
we have also Portuguese neighbor, but she didn't speak English as well.
Oh,
But she can communicate.
I think going back to your basic question about if you faced any difficulties, it is always for first generation immigrant, it will be always a bit difficult. Yeah. As we grow along with our kids and other things, they are making more mixing with people and other things. Yeah, we didn't face that way, but it is always a difficult adjustment and over the years. But to be honest, personally myself, when I go out anywhere, when I come back, I feel when I come to Texas, I feel that I'm coming home.
Yes,
So-
this is your base, basically. Yes. So you work now in Shell still?
Still
or-
working, yeah.
Okay. It's very good. Now tell me something about your social life.
Social life is a lot of social life kind of a thing revolves around my wife's
Oh, family.
and family and her friends. She makes a lot of friends, and which I'm not very good at it probably. So it goes around that. Beyond that, both my wife and I, we attend a bhajan session, and that is every Sunday, Sri Satya Sai Baba. So we are devotees of that,
Oh.
and she even sings some bhajans and other things. So around that, we do some social work here in Houston. A group of about 8 to 10 families, not a lot. So we every first Thursday of month, we go to downtown.
No, Saturday.
Saturday of month, we go to downtown and we distribute breakfast. We call it breakfast seva to the homeless people. There are a couple of homeless centers, about 120 people come out, and we do that twice a year. We distribute to them winter clothings and other things as well. So that is one part of my involvement there. Other than that, socially, I try to do some work back in Assam. I coordinate with an organization called Asha for Education, which is an American organization, non-profit fundraising type of things. They support us, and with a couple of my friends back in Guwahati, we try to manage 4 schools, which are in very remote villages of Assam, where even government schools don't get there very much. Yeah, so I get engaged in those kind of things.
Very good. And I see that you are very good in publications of your profession. You had some.
I think until last about 8 years, I used to publish kind of a technical articles based on my experience in standard journals like oil and gas or World Oil and all those things.
Some chemical engineering.
While it is more in oil-based.
Oil.
To be honest, in oil industry, there are something called upstream and downstream. I'm sure you're aware of it. I went into upstream, where it is, and last 10, 15 years, I'm doing more project management type of thing. So it is more of an experience basis, not very pure chemical engineering. So it's basically technical, but related to upstream war, basically. And I've not written more technical articles for the last 10 years almost. I've moved into writing fictions. I write in Assamese language, short stories, and I'd like to show you a magazine.
Sure.
This is a magazine. We call it Luitor Pora, Mississippi. That means from Luit is known in Assam as a Brahmaputra. So from river Brahmaputra to river Mississippi. And this is an annual publication from Assam Association of North America, which we have in Canada and US. And this particular magazine for 2 years, my wife, Usha, and myself, we were editor for that. And this is here where I started writing short stories several years back.
In English?
Yeah, I write in Assamese.
Assamese?
Yeah. And then, but this is a English and Assamese both.
Okay.
This publication is. And when I had enough stories, about 17, last year, friends of mine, they proposed that I should publish a book. So I ended up publishing this book. This is in Assamese, and somebody translated in English at the same time.
I see. In English, what is this?
This is the name, one of the stories, The Great Italian Family Circus. This was
an Indian writing.
Yeah,
Italian family circus.
that's one of the.
Tell me something about it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the interesting reason is that it was not my choice, but publisher says if you put a name, this is name of one of my stories. If you put a name which is completely out of context, people will be curious about it. And I think he's right. Everybody is asking why this name.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Interesting
This is one of the. I love circus. It started with that, and this. Most of my stories, you will find in myself quite a lot. Yeah, not in my exactly my. I've used our name. I use my children's name as the background of the story to initiate some stories. Yeah, and in this particular story, I was showing myself teaching in Guwahati Engineering College or Guwahati University, and there was a very good-looking girl. I had a little bit of weakness for her. And she was a gymnast.
Don't you feel jealous?
She feels jealous. Everybody asks me. But those are fiction again, yeah. You got to remember, there is no truth there. So she was a gymnast, and I happened to be knowing about gymnasts. So I used to take care of the whole gymnastic system in university. And there came a circus party, Italian circus, and she somehow got drawn into the circus. And she left the family, and I was not very happy because she's leaving, and she eventually joined. But there are a lot of things happened within the circus itself, and she's gone. She left India, and we meet back in Muscat, Oman. When my kids were small, they wanted to go to a circus, and they said this is the Great Italian Family Circus, and I'm making a flashback of the whole thing, starting with that. So we went to
interesting story.
Yes,
is it not? It's an interesting story. The connection, Italian connection.
Yeah.
My mother tongue, Telugu, it was called an Italian of the East
I see.
by the British.
Okay.
Because of its sweetness. That is mostly the kind of reason why they said out of all the South Indian languages, Telugu was
That's
the
interesting.
Italian of the East. And also I have an Italian son-in-law.
Oh, really?
So there is an Italian connection.
With you. So
Okay.
I'm glad that you can connect with that.
Yeah, that's what I was surprised that you, a person from Assam,
Yeah,
talking about an Italian, circus.
You have, how many children you have?
I have 2 daughters, both married.
They are
One
here in
married to
Houston?
Indian, one married to Italian.
But both are here in
Yeah,
Houston?
no, older daughter Monica is in Assam.
Where?
Sorry, not Assam, the Seattle.
Seattle, okay.
And she's a physician. And the second daughter is here, who's married to the Italian.
Okay.
Now, coming back to this, this is, tell me, Assamese language has more Sanskrit words Right.
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
derived from the Sanskrit.
Yeah, like most of the northern language,
Yeah.
it's derived from Sanskrit.
Sanskrit
Yeah.
words. And what did you call it? Lithor,
Luit is the name in
Brahmaputra.
Assamese, Brahmaputra.
It's called Luit in Assam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Brahmaputra is Sanskrit word
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
And the Brahmaputra is the backbone for Assam. Everything happens around Brahmaputra.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So since we migrated from Assam, Luit,
To Mississippi.
to Mississippi, so that is how we picked up the name. Almost this association was formed in 1980s, and every year we meet. This year we are meeting in Las Vegas in July, and it happens always in July 4th weekend, always every year. And
Mississippi because you worked there in Mississippi?
no.
Louisiana?
We are talking about the whole Indian Assamese community. Coming to America is sort of, if you connect river to river, is from Brahmaputra to Mississippi, bank of Mississippi.
Not from Ganges to Mississippi.
Well, because we came from Assam,
Of
right?
course,
Yeah.
Of course.
That is Indian, okay, American flag. That is also,
The American flag.
and that is
And
that
this-
is design of gamusa. Gamusa means it's a Assamese.
Yeah, I
like
should have
a-
brought one actually.
No,
So
yeah.
this is a sort of a towel
Sure.
that.
Towel?
Yeah.
Tell me something unique about Assam, your home state originally. I mean, of course, you are wearing a Assamese
It's called
garment.
that part is called mekhela. That part is called chador.
Is it a two-piece or one?
Two-piece, yeah, two-piece, yeah,
Oh,
two-piece.
two-piece, okay.
To specifically to your question, if I can take that,
Sure.
there are three things we talked about Assam, three to four things. One is this what she is wearing called Assamese silk, and it is very unique because it is made out of saliva of
No
worm.
saliva, yeah.
Worms.
Yeah, that is, everywhere silk is made
Worms, yeah.
like that.
So
Silkworm.
and this is white is this one. There's another one is called muga, which is a bit brownish. That's very typical in Assam, and they're very expensive because they are made very laboriously. And that is one. Next thing is Assam is known very well for tea. Yeah, I think everywhere. Assam tea is
So-
very famous.
Very true.
We have plenty of oil, and those are the three, I think, basic things I could tell that you could recognize Assam.
Also, Assamese food is not same as other, states, food like in Indian other food. And our food consists of rice.
Mainly,
Mainly.
staple food is rice.
Yeah, lot of,
And you
like-
produce a lot of rice
A lot
too.
of rice also.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, our breakfast cereal also made out of rice. Like a lot of, we use a lot of rice in Assam.
At
For
one
breakfast,
time,
for like lunch, dinner.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a staple food is rice,
Yeah.
and we got a very unique, I think, unique curry made out of tomato.
Uh-huh.
We call it tenga. Tenga means sour.
Sour.
So tenga, and we thought that is a very typical of Assam. Nobody outside Assam would like it, but now she introduced about 10, 15 years back. Everybody loves it. You say any other Indians, Europeans, Americans, they love that curry quite a lot. So that's,
Are you vegetarian?
Yes.
yeah, you can make it vegetarian, non-vegetarian.
So how many Assamese people are here in Houston?
Houston.
The ones you
Now
know.
probably about getting close to 50 families. Yeah, a lot of them have come in last 10 years, and even now, younger generations connected to a lot in the oil industry or IT. So a lot of people have come are very new. There are few families from the older generation, our generation.
And in the United States, total, you think,
We,
how many
every,
Assamese?
I don't think all of them come, but every annual function we meet is Assam Convention. We get about 400 to 500 people coming in, so maybe 200, 300 families.
Assam is in the northeastern part of India, remote from the rest of the country. However, you are connected by, I guess, religion, to, and then culture, and the emotions, because of the history connected. It's a, I mean, for most of the, say, rest of the country, Assam is, of course, oil.
Far away. Yeah, we have heard that many.
Yeah.
As you said that we are the first Assamese family we met, right?
Assam also,
Yeah.
the culture is very unique because we have lot of immigrants from outside. Outside means, like other states, like
You
Bengali.
have immigrants
Like
within the country.
within the country, yeah.
migration.
It's not, they are not
True,
illegal
Bengalis
immigrant.
are
Yeah.
there, Uriyas
Bengali,
are there,
Uriya,
Biharis
Marwari,
are there,
Bihari,
UP.
UP.
Those we don't have an issue. But
Yeah,
I
but-
think this copy I brought it for you.
Yeah,
You look at the
for me.
editorial on that. I've written very clearly.
Ah.
Assam is facing a very similar situation what we are facing in Texas.
Okay.
This issue of illegal immigration.
From Bangladesh.
Only thing I'm trying to make a differentiation there is here religiously we are saying mostly Catholics that come from South America, and assimilation is better. Where I have a concern about language assimilation, I noticed that about 30 years back when I came, that we need to make sure that people get to speak to English faster than it is happening now, so the assimilation gets better than American. In Assam, the unique problem is that illegal immigration is extremely heavy, no abatement there at all.
How do you define illegal, legal in India? How
Well,
between states?
No,
anyone
no,
can-
not between.
not
I'm talking about
released,
coming
not
from
released.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh is an issue there.
Yeah, because there is a porous border,
Okay.
and people on the border districts of Assam, a lot of people speak Bengali, and the people from Bangladesh speak Bengali. But what is, people are getting very concerned. I mean, we are all secular, yeah, we all know about it. But there is a limit somewhere that when you have a lot of illegal immigration coming, and that causes demographic change completely on the basis of religion, that's a big alarming situation in Assam. And
It's a porous border, right?
yeah, it's a
Between
big border river.
Bangladesh and
Yeah,
Assam.
it's easy to cross. There's nothing there. And I've written one of the stories. I think I don't have a copy right now. I'll give you a copy in future. One of the stories I have shown that very clearly that what is the impact of that illegal immigration is happening in Assam. And, that is,
And how about the religious conversions?
conversions are happening.
Missionary
Conversions has
conversions.
happening in India. People like Assam, it happened. Assam used to be a 7 states, 7 districts, yeah, and it was broken down to now 7 states, yeah. Like
7 states?
yeah, like Assam stayed in the center.
Yeah.
You know about Shillong used to be a known place.
Yes.
That is called
Assam
Meghalaya
state
right now.
is Assam
That's a
state.
completely separate state.
Okay.
We got Arunachal separate state. We got
Nagaland.
plenty of Nagaland. All are separate states.
Mizoram.
And
And Tejpur is which state?
Tezpur in Assam.
Assam also.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And those places are basically bit of a tribal areas, yeah. And when it is our fault, when Assamese people, they used to speak Assamese, they don't do it anymore. When we neglected them, at least our government and our personally our people as well, after our that's fine, they don't look exactly similar to us, and that alienated them. And that was the Christian missionaries when they came there, they took big advantage of that. You'll find a lot of them converting to Christianity. Yeah? And this recent illegal immigration is causing problems with converting as well to Islam. So it's a pretty chaotic situation there, and government had been extremely poor, and there is no governance. And people are hoping that now 7 MPs have been elected from Assam to go to central government. Things will change, and I hope it does. And I'm personally a little bit affiliated to BJP. Not that I'm saying BJP is a saint, yeah. And they have their own political issues as well. But people are hoping that something might change. We don't know.
Yeah. Now, in America, you have your kids settled here,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, they're not going to go back.
So, yeah.
Very rarely,
Don't expect
few
it.
people are going back. So when they grow up, your grandchildren, you want them to be Assamese, or how culturally at home they are, probably you can retain some percentage of your own culture at home. But in the mainstream, they grow up like any other American kids.
Yeah.
So what is your wish? I mean, how do you want them to
Yeah,
get
I
connected
grew up
with
them to be an Indian, not a like Assamese or Marathi, because my son-in-law is Marathi.
Okay.
Because I want them to follow the Indian culture, religion as well. They are also Hindu. We are Hindu. Then we want them to be, we want them to be raised like Indian, not like Assamese or Marathi.
So are you concerned that these kids growing up in America are slowly getting disconnected from India or India's culture? They are more
For us-
Americanized than India, being
Yeah, like we go to India every year. Last year we went, and again we are planning to go this year. And then especially my son, this son, elder son, he's very much Indian. He likes to go to India every year, but he's quite Indian. That's why we're looking for a girl from Assam. He's,
okay,
yeah,
there's
he's
still a chance.
made an Assamese
He's
girl.
shaking his head. The mommy is looking for it. Yeah. Can I add a little bit on
Sure,
that one?
sure.
I think where I differ with my wife is that I'd like my kids to be grown as an American Indian. Yeah, not Indian, American Indian. And when you say Indian, it is a wish. You use the word wish there. We wish definitely that my grandkids could speak Assamese or Marathi or something like that. But it is a wish. 2 generations is going to go away. Unless somebody is very kind of stubborn or passionate about it to keep it, I don't see in my family it is happening very much. And because more and more generation, we have brought them here, right? They're open to this society. So we cannot expect them to go back every time they're going to. It's good to do that. I've noticed among the South Indian families, that passion is a little bit more than the North Indian families, at least from, but it is again one-to-one. I don't think we are doing a very good job on ours. We are letting it go as it happens. We have a family I knew, and they married a local Caucasian boy, and that guy tried to speak in Assamese. Yeah, and he goes to temple more than his wife, Assamese wife. So things can happen that way as well. But I do not, whatever we wish, I think 3 generations you give it maximum is going to.
They become
Yeah.
part of the melting pot.
Yeah.
They become more.
It will be more like, now you are passionate about leaving this legacy of Indian Americans for a future generation, which is, I really applaud it. It's a good idea. I never thought about it. And so it's a good idea. But how many more people will do that in future?
Exactly. When your grandkids grow up here, their kids, when they look back and say that we are from India, but then where are we really from, which state, and who are our grandparents, how did they come here? They can go back to this video, which will be in the digital archives, and they can trace back, and they can, in fact, a number of elementary school children and middle school children, by teachers, they ask them to write about their grandparents, because in America, not many people have connections with their grandparents. So they are asked to interview them and write about their grandparents. So there is an attempt to trace back to their roots like that.
Which is a very good attempt.
So this project is meant for future generations. So that is an interesting story. First being you are the first Assamese couple we are interviewing for the project, and we hope more and more Assamese people will come forward and spread the word. So is there anything else you want to share with us on the project? About yourself, anything which I did not cover during this conversation, and you can, tell anything which you think we ought to know, or you want to record in the project.
I think about, personally for myself, and I think she's going to support it, I'm contemplating to retire this year. And these are the kind of things that I would like to be associated with. If you require any support, I'd be willing to volunteer. And I wish you all the best. It's a good effort, with your little bit of a downhill right now. Still, you are keeping it up.
When did you have, sorry, when did you have?
I'll talk about it
Yeah,
later.
outside, yeah, let's talk
This
outside.
is your interview.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So,
So-
it's a big opportunity, and I want to go back to writing full time. So in a year or two, we might see some novels coming out of mine.
Wonderful.
Whatever standard it is, I do just for my own pleasure. And when we published this one, it was appreciated by some good big writer in Assam. That is where it gave me my boost, and I thought
Actually, there is we have been able to get space for Indian languages in the Houston Public Library, and there are 5 languages. Course major, Hindi is one of them, and then Urdu is there, Bengali was there, section is there, Tamil and Telugu. So total 5 sections. If you go to the Central Library, they are there. And you can add an Assamese collection.
Okay.
If you can raise funds and give them the books, they will add a section called Assamese. So that way you will perpetuate your language and culture through the.
So that's in the Central Library.
Central Library.
Okay.
We already got 5 languages. Assamese can be one more language.
Sure, appreciate it.
And that's it. Thank you very much for your time coming along, and
All right. Thank you, sir.
appreciate
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Modi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.